masculinization of Black cisgender women.
I don't like that.
The girls are fighting. So this video is actually very late. I was meant to make it like a whole month ago, but I was very busy. So I finally decided I had time to sit down and talk about this. I am a cisgender Black woman who grew up in a very conservative household. It really wasn't until I was around 15 that I started to learn about transphobia in this world. I only say this so that I can be clear about my positionality in this conversation. I'm so sure that I will not get everything right in this video, and for that I apologize. I am still learning myself, and I ask for understanding and insight from my transgender sisters with any insight to offer in the comments. I am so tired of seeing Black cisgender women dehumanize, weaponize their supposed femininity, and terrorize the lives of Black transgender women. So I wanted to talk about it. And if this is still not clear to you, this channel is not a channel that tolerates transphobia. So today I will be debunking and taking apart the ideas that certain cisgender Black women have concerning Black transgender women. To me, the most prevalent argument made by even the most liberal of Black women I saw was that Black cisgender women need a separate space from Black transgender women because they are somehow encroaching on our spaces. The claim is that transgender women are threats to the sanctity of the space for Black cisgender women. So I asked this question in response. When you police who can be in Black cisgender women's spaces, what will be the criteria? There are no ways for cis women to prove ourselves without reducing our womanhood to body parts. And even that is unstable because which Black women would it include? Who would fit? Who would be excluded? Are we forgetting the countless Black cisgender women who have been famously plagued with rumors for having too strong of a jawline, too husky of a singing voice, too grand a stature, or having arms that are too toned? Women like Sierra, Serena Williams, Janet Jackson, Toni Braxton, Megan Thee Stallion, heck, even Lupita Nyong'o. Another very common argument is that Black women who are transgender are contributing to the masculinization of Black cisgender women.
I don't like that.
Sorry, this argument to me points to a lack of historical or political knowledge or education and simply does not make sense to me. Rather than challenging and going after white supremacy, which has positioned Black women, Black cisgender women in this way of masculinity, you go after other Black women. That is so weird. The argument is literal poop. It's doo-doo. Black transgender women are not, let me say this again, they are not contributing to any sort of masculinization. White supremacy already does that. You know what this line of thinking points towards? It points towards a required assumption. For this argument to make any sense, it requires that you hold the belief that Black transgender women are not women. And that simply is not true. The reason you are fighting for any semblance of femininity is not the fault of transgender women. It is the colonial gender binaries under white supremacy that have caused this, not transgender women, not Black transgender women. As we see that these rigid understandings of gender have not been limiting and damaging on all our lives, why double down on this binary and prop ourselves up and push other people down because we find that we can get power through purporting this binary. So again, throw this argument in the trash because it is transphobic and disgusting. So often, the easiest argument is one of biology. And to me, it makes it very clear that there is absolutely nothing natural about biological sex. The idea of that. Sex, like gender, is a construction, and the way we think about it is completely social. There are variations across members of the opposite sex. There are many women who are physically stronger than men, many men who are physically weaker than women. These aren't exceptions because there is no rule. As Lola Olufemi notes, to say that sex and gender are social constructions is not to say that they are unimportant or that gender is as simple as putting on a different hat each day. It is not. As we see, gender has real life and death consequences. People are killed every day for subverting or challenging the gender binary. But when we adopt an understanding of Black womanhood in such essentialist ways, we endanger the lives of Black transgender women. So many of us like to rely on gender binaries and essentialist narratives about Black womanhood as if our womanhood has not been weaponized against us. When we see that the term woman has never been singular or stable, rather it has been a strategic coalition in which we organize against structural, colonial, and anti-Black projects, according to Lola Olufemi. So how do we so comfortably purport womanhood for ourselves but not for our sisters? Reducing our womanhood to body parts and the belief that womanhood is an innate natural essence harms all of us. When the bodies of Black women were designated as property during slavery, when we were poked and continue to be prodded by white surgeons and doctors, when our lives are not considered and our pain is ignored, when our deaths are completely erased, when we were paraded on stage for the entertainment of whiteness, our womanhood was and continues to be denied time and time again. How can we now feel fit to come and tell other Black women that they cannot be women like us? It's often hard for cisgender women to see how our complacency in transphobia and transmisogyny can wreak violence because our lives are so often encapsulated in violence through the dominations of patriarchal power and racism. But that is what we do when we talk about Black transgender women in these ways, when we use these arguments I just laid out in discussions with other Black transgender women. We place our sisters in harm's way when we debate about their right to exist in this world, when we argue about who can perform gender best, when we fall into essentialist gender binaries. It is violent, and not only are we complacent, but many of us are aggressors. On November 20th, 2012, 19-year-old Sage Smith left her home at 5:30 p.m. for a date, and by 6:30 p.m., she went missing. Sage's case was reclassified as a homicide case in November of 2016, and the Charleston Police Department has a person of interest named Eric McFadden, who they believe was the last person to see her. McFadden is still missing, and her case has not been solved yet. Sage's case not only shows the violence that is perpetrated against Black transgender people, but especially Black transgender women. Violence against transgender Black women is reflective of a national pattern of transgender women of color being killed in hate violence homicides. A total of 22 women were killed in 2017 in comparison to 12 in 2013. However, we know that the data is unreliable as some deaths are not reported and some victims are not identified as transgender women in the media, or they are misgendered. Black transgender women are particularly vulnerable because they face multiple kinds of discrimination. According to the World Health Organization, transgender people have low rates of access to the health and HIV services due to the range of issues including violence, legal barriers, stigma, and discrimination. Violence against transgender people, such as police abuse and intimate partner violence, is very common. According to the 2015 U.S. Transgender Survey by the activist group National Center for Transgender Equality, 38% of Black transgender people surveyed living in poverty and also reported greater housing instability, with 51% of Black transgender women reporting they had experienced homelessness at some point in their lives. We cannot continue to carry on like this. Black transgender women are being harmed, and they're being harmed by many of us within communities that they should feel comfort, love, and safety and acceptance from. I want us to do better. I want Black transgender women to feel like they belong in their communities and that their communities value them and they love them. But this cannot happen when so many of us devalue and dehumanize our sisters by perpetuating transphobic arguments and ideas. Thank you for watching. I made this video as a call to action of sorts because I really do not like what was being said and I wanted to speak up about it. Like I said earlier, I feel like I'm a guest in the discussion, so I want everyone to go and watch and listen to what Black transgender women have been saying. Please. I have linked a few of Cat Blaque's videos in the description and a video from For Harriet for you all to check out, so please do. I've also attached a GoFundMe for all of us to get involved with and donate if you can. Let's help invest in Black trans futures in Nigeria, as Nigeria has actually the highest population of Black people in the world. This also means that there are many Black transgender women in desperate need of help. Last I checked, I think they only raised about 16K from their 30K goal, so please help out if you can. Also, in other news, I have created a Patreon. It will be linked in the description box, but please consider supporting me on Patreon, and in exchange you will receive benefits such as early viewing of videos, extended versions of videos where I dive in a little bit more than I do on YouTube, because I have decided to shorten my videos on YouTube, so most of my videos will not be longer than 15 to 20 minutes. I'm trying my best. Choice of video topics, patron shout outs, and also live videos and community chats, all for donations of either $2 if you can, $5 if you're able to, and $10 if you're able to. These donations will also be collected monthly. My goal currently is to raise enough money that I can finally buy a real camera. And as you all know, I'm a student. This is my final year of university, but I'm still a student. Broke student at that, living at home. And so I would like to stop using my phone to film. So if you'd like to support me in that way, please do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, please. For this video in particular, I'm going to be monitoring comments. That doesn't mean if you comment you won't get posted. I'm just trying to mitigate the amount of hate that will be posted on, because even in a video where I was just mildly saying things, I was just mildly critiquing certain things, I didn't say anything that wild in my opinion. People were saying some very violent and rude and just like very violent things. So I decided to monitor the comments, and if they get approved, they will be posted. So thank you for watching again. Bye.